Oswego Speedway was back in action for Race of Champions weekend just a couple of weeks ago. The Supermodifieds on hand, as well as the Pathfinder Bank SBS Supers. They would run their heat races on Friday night, supposed to run their entire schedule on Friday, but unfortunately a rain shower at the end of the qualifying heat races would force their feature event to be run on Sunday. But as you can see here, bright sunny skies were out for the early portion of the Friday racing activities, and the first qualifying heat race for the small block supers took to the speedway with Andrew Schartner and Josh Kerr up there on row number 1, with Schartner jumping out into the early race lead. Kerr dropped down into second. Dalton Doyle, a two-time feature winner this season, quickly would jump up onto the back bumper of the Kerr number 8, slicing to the inside to take that runner-up position down into corner number 3. Schartner would lead Doyle, Brown, and J.J. Andrews early on in this one, but there was trouble further behind as the 07 of Justin Connell and the 44 of Zach Amo tangled going into that first corner. They each would go up and tag the foam. On the restart, Schartner and Doyle would pull out in front and run away with this one as Schartner comes down for the qualifying heat race one over Dalton Doyle, Russ Brown, J.J. Andrews, Josh Kerr, and Connell in the 07, who would get back out onto the speedway to get the checkered flag. Heat race number 2 would follow up next with Scott Schaefer in the 76 and Mike Bruce in the 22, up there in row number 1, but hot on their heels early on, the driver of the number 6 machine, Brian Sobis. Part-time duty this year back into the SBS division after competing full-time in the Novellas Supermodifieds the past 2 seasons. Sobis would quickly pull to the inside of the speedway and dart out into the race lead, leading Bruce, Schaefer, and the 77 of Cameron Rowe. Bruce in the 22 would apply heavy pressure throughout the entire 10 laps of this qualifying heat race, looking to the low side of Sobis, then playing a little bit of bumper tag down the front straightaway. Brian Sobis waves his hands, says, "Give me a break." As they head down into corner number 1, Sobis continues to lead the way. Well, on the last lap, Bruce would try it one more time, leaving the outside lane open for the 74 of Mike Bond, who was charging his way through the field. Checkered flag in the air. Sobis would cross the line as the winner. Bruce in second, Bond in third. Cameron Rowe came home in position number 4. Third and final heat race of Friday night took to the speedway not long before the skies would open up and conclude the night. Anthony Lacerdo and Rob Pullen started up there in row number 1 ahead of Jack Patrick in the 17 of Tim Guru as they slide down the back straightaway. Pullen tried to look to the low side on Lacerdo early on, but as this race progressed, Lacerdo was the fastest car on the speedway, including the 2 of Pullen and the 9 of Patrick as they worked out of corner number 4. Patrick trying to find the low side on the deuce of Pullen to get up into that runner-up position. Lacerdo, keep in mind, just a 15-year-old rookie here at Oswego Speedway. He's got almost a straightaway advantage in this heat race as Patrick finally tucks down to the inside going into corner number 3 to take the second spot. Patrick has had an up-and-down year, 1 podium finish, but a lot of bad luck in that Longley Dodge car number 9. He now is up into position number 2 as Craig Harrith works to the inside of Timmy Guru in the 17 into corner number 1. On the race's final lap, Patrick would manage to close in on the back bumper of Lacerdo, but with the checkered flag in the air, it was Lacerdo grabbing his first career win at Oswego Speedway in qualifying heat race number 3 on Friday night. Jumping now to Saturday afternoon, qualifying heat racing action for the Novellas Supermodifieds would see Brian Sweeney and Michael Muldoon on the front row for qualifying heat race number 1, and Muldoon would get the early jump in the 51 down into corner number 1 with Sweeney tucking in the line in second. Dave Danzer in the 52 rides third ahead of Sean Goslin in the 26th and 4th, as Dave Gruhl in the A&P Auto Parts car number 50 slides to the low side and moves up into the top 5 positions as Davey Hamilton in the Nicotra Racing 6 car looks for racing room on the high side of the speedway. Hamilton was the fastest car in early warm-ups, but would end this one in position number 6. White flag in the air. Michael Muldoon driving car number 51 would come across the checkered flags to win your first of 3 Novellas Supermodified heat races.
We're a little loose today, but we'll fix her for the feature. It's been a tough couple of weeks coming back from that big wreck. I think it was 3 weeks ago. Got to thank my crew and everyone for getting it back together, and we got 2 cars today, and hopefully we'll be able to put them both up front in the feature.
Qualifying heat race number 2 for the Novellas Supermodifieds would see the 06 of Dave Cliff and the 0-2 of Brandon Bellinger up there on row number 1 with Pat Lavery. Tim Devendorf in row number 2, Joe Gosick and Jeff Abold in this older number 05 chassis back out here at the Speedway just 2 weeks ago Saturday night. Cliff in the 06 would check out into the early race lead, but Bellinger quickly pulls the crossover move down the back straightaway. Bellinger would take the race lead down the back chute and into corner number 3 as Lavery tries to work to the low side of the number 22. Cliff, though, in that Laws Engine car, number 06, battling back as best he could on the top side of the Speedway, down the back chute and into corner number 3 as the 00 of Joe Gosick looking for room out of corner number 4. Bellinger still out in front. Lavery to the low side in the first corner this time would make the pass stick as he moves up into the runner-up spot. Well, just one lap later, Gosick now pulls to the high side of Cliff, tries to pull the crossover himself, gets underneath down the back straightaway and into corner number 3, but the two cars would touch. Cliff would hit the foam in corner number 3. Get a look at the replay here now down the back chute as Gosick works his way to the inside as the two make contact. As this race got back underway, Brandon Bellinger would go on to check away with the win.
Yeah, it is going pretty good. I know we got a long race tonight, so it's important to try to make sure we make the right adjustments so we keep the tires on the car for 100 laps. But for a 10-lap race, it was pretty good, or 12 laps, whatever the heat races are. You know, you can't run the same speeds in a 100-lap race as you do in a heat race, so we're just talking it over, and we got to talk over some more to decide what kind of adjustments we got to make. So we've actually struggled the last couple features keeping the car underneath us, so we got to make the right adjustments to keep the car good for 100 laps.
Third and final, Novella's Supermodified heat race hits the Speedway with the hustler. Michael Barnes up there on the pole position. Jerry Curran to his outside. Curran gets a little sideways out of corner number 4. Nearly drives into the side of Barnes as they go down the front stretch, but they were able to shake it out, get single file. Barnes in the lead. Curran in second. Danny Connors right there in third, ahead of Otto Sitterly in that 7 machine riding fourth. 12 laps through this event, it stayed single file, very safe, very clean. Michael Barnes would go on to get the victory over Jerry Curran in the 24. Sitterly tried one last stitch at Connors for third. Michael Barnes had this to say after his qualifying heat race win.
Got off to a little better start. We have been the last few weeks. A couple issues in practice, but we got them figured out before the heat. Car was real good in the heat race, so we'll see what we got for the future.
The summer of fun continues at Oswego Speedway. Saturday, August 3rd. It's the 27th running of the Mr. Novella's Supermodified. Don't miss the fastest open-wheel racers in Central New York battle for the $10,000 top prize. Plus, the title of Mr. Pathfinder Bank's Small Block Supermodified will be on the line. For more information, visit online at OswegoSpeedway.com. It's the $10,000 to win Mr. Novella's Supermodified at Oswego Speedway, August 3rd. Inside Oswego Speedway is brought to you by Novella's. Not just aluminum, Novella's aluminum. Pathfinder Bank, local community trust. Eagle Beverage, we bring the beer to you. Oswego Bike Fest, riding, rocking, and racing Oswego Speedway. And by Best Western Plus Quality Inn and Suites of Oswego. Well, it took a couple days to get the green flag, but on Sunday of Race of Champions weekend, it was finally time to go Pathfinder Bank SBS Series racing, and 50 laps would be the distance with the rookie Anthony Lacerdo and the veteran Andrew Schartner up there in row number 1. And Schartner in that Chrome Motorsports car number 18 would jump out into the race lead down the back chute with Brian Sobis, Jack Patrick, and Dalton Doyle doing battle further on back. Well, as they entered corner number 1 on the second lap, Doyle tried to look to the inside. He and Patrick made contact. The 9 car would go around. The 8 of Josh Kerr collected as well. Patrick and Doyle would both go to the back of the field for the restart. Later on, lap number 3, Mike Bond in the 4.7's Motorsports number 74 looking to cut his way through the field. Gets a little bit too high there going into corner number 3, and that allows the 93 of J.J. Andrews and the 14 of Jeremy Pitcher to work to the low side. Bond would be hung up on the outside for at least 2 or 3 laps, as next the 98 of Jason Simmons, who rides 3rd in the championship standings, he would duck to the inside of Bond in the 74. Well, they battled for a good couple of laps before Bond was able to pull his way back down into the racing line just in front of his teammate, the number 47 of John Tesserario. Bond in the 74 trying to chase down this driver. The driver of the CNY Power, car number 13, Russ Brown, the championship point leader, had a 38-point edge on Bond coming into this main event as he slices underneath the 17 of Timmy Guru, leaving the lane open for the 93 of J.J. Andrews as well. Meanwhile, out in front, Schartner continuing to lead the way. Lacerdo running a great race, riding in that second spot ahead of Mike Bruce in the 22, Rob Pullen in the deuce, and Brian Sobis in the 6 machine, back there rounding out the top 5, second through fourth in great position. Lacerdo would eventually pull away from the 22 machine, almost gaining ground on the 18 of Schartner in lap traffic, and just as that was going on, Brown slid a little bit high going into corner number 3, allowing Andrews in the 93 car to slip on by as well. But as Kerr was slipping back through the field in lap traffic, here on lap number 18, Brown would work his way back to the inside of Andrews out of corner number 2 as they battled Nerf bar to Nerf bar down the back straightaway. Brown in the 13, Andrews in the 93, Jeremy Pitcher trying to stick his nose in there as well, as Brown with this time would make the move stick out of corner number 4 to regain that position as they completed lap number 19. As Schartner and Lacerdo literally checked away from the field here on lap 22, caution lights would hit the speedway, and a lot more than that would hit the outside steel wall as a hose came loose on the Simmons number 98. Timmy Guru, John Tesserario, and Craig Harris would all pound the outside steel wall as all 3 cars lost traction coming out of that 4th corner. As you get a look at the replay here, simply no control for those 3 cars as they all got their days ended in the outside of the 4th turn wall. Simmons in the 98 car was able to continue on, so too was the number 24 of A.J. Burness. Lap number 31, Brian Sobis in the 6 car would now run in the 3rd spot as Mike Bruce in car number 22 took that machine to pit lane just past the halfway point. So Schartner and Lacerdo continue to lead your way out in front. Sobis and Pullen back there in 3rd and 4th. Well, as the lap counter ticked to number 37, only 13 laps to go, Lacerdo began to reel in Schartner, running faster times than your race leader as they close in on the lap traffic of Greg O'Connor and the 8 of Josh Kerr. And Schartner finally was able to get by Kerr, then works up into the outside of the 90 of O'Connor going into corner number 3. Lacerdo thought about ducking down to the inside, thought better of it coming down the front stretch, pulls back up to the high line, follows Schartner right around O'Connor, and he would stay glued to the back bumper of the Schartner number 18 through the remainder of this one. As the long runs continued, Lacerdo looked as though he may have a chance to battle for the race lead, but unfortunately, on lap number 42, caution lights would hit the speedway one final time as the 90 of O'Connor and the 93 of Andrews get together in that 3rd corner. O'Connor goes around, so too does the 01 of Dalton Doyle. The 9 of Jack Patrick has to stop as you get another look at the replay here going into that 3rd corner, and that would set up a restart with about 8 laps to go. And Schartner in the 18 machine proved to be just enough to hold off the 1 machine of Lacerdo to go on and pick up his first win of the 2013 racing season. Schartner, who had to delay a flight to get back to Charlotte because of the rainout, goes on to the win over Lacerdo, Sobis, Pullen, and Cameron Rowe in the top 5 positions as Schartner pulls that machine down into Turning Stone Resort Casino Victory Lane, his 2nd consecutive RoC win, the 3rd consecutive for Crow Motorsports.
Absolutely, it was the car was not good at restarts at all. We were having an awful time trying to get going, and that's the way it's been all year. The car was great though in the long run. That's what we aimed for. It wasn't very good at the beginning, and it came in, and this has just been an awful year, honestly. We've had terrible luck, and I think I'm most happy for my crew because they're the ones who have to slave on this thing after the luck we've had. And that's the most important thing right now is this acknowledgement has to go out to Gary and Tom and my dad, Scott, all them that came and helped, because this is theirs. I wanted to come back and definitely defend my crown with the rain out. I had a flight going out of Logan Airport today, so I had to change that. I'm going to be paying the credit card off till I'm collecting Social Security, but it'll be worth it after today.
Yeah, he was getting a lot better restarts than us, but we were chasing him down a little bit. I just got to thank all my sponsors, Chris and Carly Haggerty, my dad, my mom, Stu, for all the hard work he puts in, and everyone that comes out to support us. I'm not that good on the restart yet. It's something I really have to work on, but the car was good, and I felt like we were just as fast or faster than Andrew, but he was holding a good line and getting much better restarts than us.
You know what, we were really good right from the start. And then after we got that long yellow with all the speedy drive, I mean, the car was just a handful after that. I knew if I could keep it on the bottom and you know, not screw up, I would be all right. But Robbie let me know he was there, but he raced me really clean, and I got to thank him for that.
Looking now at the SBS Contingency Awards from 2 weeks ago Sunday, A.J. Burness would be the D&S Landscaping Hard Charger Award winner. Anthony Lacerdo, of course, your Nice Price Auto Sales up-and-comer. Rob Pullen would go on for the White's Car Care 4th Place Award, while Shartner took the Lap Leader Award, leading all 50 laps. Russ Brown now with a 45-point edge on Mike Bond in the battle for the SBS Championship. Jason Simmons, J.J. Andrews, and Craig Harris, your top 5.
The summer of fun continues at Oswego Speedway. Saturday, August 3rd. It's the 27th running of the Mr. Novellis Supermodified. Don't miss the fastest open-wheel racers in Central New York battle for the $10,000 top prize. Plus, the title of Mr. Pathfinder Bank's Small Block Supermodified will be on the line. For more information, visit online at OswegoSpeedway.com. It's the $10,000 to win Mr. Novellis Supermodified at Oswego Speedway, August 3rd.
Inside Oswego Speedway is brought to you by Novellis. Not just aluminum, Novellis aluminum. Pathfinder Bank, local community trust. Eagle Beverage, we bring the beer to you. Oswego Bike Fest, riding, rocking, and racing Oswego Speedway. And by Best Western Plus Quality Inn & Suites of Oswego. For the first time since the 2005 racing season, the Novellis Supermodifieds would run a 100-lap feature event. And it came as a part of the Saturday portion of Race of Champions weekend here at the Speedway. And Michael Barnes and Brian Sweeney would lead the field down to green for the first of 2 50-lap segments. And Barnes, who went on to get the victory in his qualifying heat race, quickly checked out in front in this one in the strong racing car number 99, but the driver further back that was on the move through the field was the 00 of Joe Gosick, your 2011 track champion. He first would work underneath the number 24 of Jerry Curran to begin to put himself into position. Next would slide on by the 01 of Danny Connors, and then right up to the outside of the 51 of Michael Muldoon. Now keep in mind, Gosick came into the event as the Novellis Supermodified Oswego Speedway Track Championship point leader, and it had some pretty good races here in the past 3 weeks, so he had to start back in row number 10 with the 7 machine of Otto Sitterly. And Gosick quickly trying to put some distance between he and the 7 car as he next worked around the 3 of Sweeney down the front straightaway. Sitterly, however, would take a little bit more of a calm approach, slowly working his way through the pack. First to the outside of the 01 of Danny Connors down into corner number 1. Sitterly would start to work his way through the field. So too with the number 26 of Sean Goslin, your most improved driver from a year ago. Now he rides 3rd in the championship standings. He works underneath the 01 of Connors down the back chute and into corner number 3. At the same time, caution lights would come on for the return of Bobby Haynes Jr. as he lost the handle going into the 3rd corner. On the restart after that caution, Pat Lavery in the number 22 had worked up onto the back bumper of the 02 of Brandon Bellinger, and he quickly slipped to the inside of the Bellinger Auto Service machine down into that 1st corner. The door would be left open for Gosick as well, but 00 Joe would tuck it back in the line. Here as he looks again now to the outside of Bellinger into corner number 3, pulls the crossover out of turn number 4. Gosick now in the 00 up into that 3rd spot with Brian Sweeney in the 3 machine just behind. Dave Danzer back there as well in car number 52 ahead of the Muldoon 51 and the Goslin number 26 as they roll down into corner number 3. Barnes and Lavery would run away out in front here in this first 50-lap segment. Barnes, who has yet to pick up a feature win this season, rides ahead of Lavery, who of course earned his first career win just a few weeks ago here at the Speedway. Gosick too in the 00, looking for his first win of the 2013 season. There you go, Joey Payne in the number 20 car was back in action, and he quickly picks off 2 runners there into corner number 3 in the 01 of Connors and his teammate Muldoon in the number 51 machine. So Payne here in town for the 100 lapper, making some quick ground in the 20 car. With 1 lap to go in the first segment, Joe Gosick began to show problems down the front stretch. You can see the right front wheel was beginning to hop around on the Berks Home Center car number 00. So Gosick actually would drop off the pace, pull to the inside of the speedway. He dropped from 3rd all the way back to 9th as Barnes comes across the start-finish line to the caution flag as the first 50-lapper would come to a close. Barnes in that machine would actually now slow down, let the entire field catch up behind him, and he, along with Lavery and the Bellinger number 02, would bring the entire field to pit lane. It would be a 15-minute break in which drivers and teams, only 3 allowed at the car, could do anything to the machine they wanted except to change Hoosier Racing tires. Now keep in mind, if you went to your pit stall, it would be a 1-lap penalty, and that becomes very crucial here as the 15-minute clock wears on. 00 Joe Gosick obviously had problems. We'd have to wait and see until he stops here in the hot pit whether or not he would have to go make repairs as Mike Barnes gets the helmet off, talks to his car owner Pat Strong down here in the hot pit. Pat Lavery as well, getting ready to get the buckles off and relax a touch in the 22 machine. But the real story was Gosick as he takes a look at that right front axle, and he can tell right away there's issues with that. They're going to need a welder to be able to fix the front end of the 00 machine. So the push Jeep gets behind and actually pushes Gosick all the way back around to his pit stall, which would be a 1-lap penalty for the Berks Home Center team. As the welder comes into action, they would get this fixed. Gosick would be able to head back out onto the racetrack, but he would restart, as we said, 18th, 1 lap down as the field came down for the restart. To kick off lap number 51, Barnes the leader, Lavery second, Bellinger third, Sitterly fourth, but there was trouble just a couple laps after in corner number 3 as the 51 of Muldoon goes around, collecting Tim Devendorf, Dave Gruhl, Jerry Curran, the 0 of Timmy Snyder, and the 56 of Hal LaTulip, ending the day for several drivers. On the restart, the Barnes number 99 pushes a little bit high out of corner number 4. Lavery would charge to the front, and the Lighthouse lanes double deuce to take the race lead. Barnes in the 99 slips back to second, Bellinger riding in third, Sitterly right there in fourth, and at about this point in the race, you could tell after halfway that Sitterly was right where he wanted to be as Bellinger moves to the low side of Barnes into corner number 1, leaving the lane open for Sitterly to pull through as well up into that number 3 spot. As you can see further back, Joey Payne also making up some nice ground. Brian Sweeney still with a good run going in that number 3 machine. As Danzer, Davey Hamilton, Goslin, and Jeff Abel do battle. Hamilton, who started all the way back in position number 16, was taking his time, now methodically working his way through the pack, nicely into the top 10 spots as Abel works his way underneath the Gosick number 00 as well. As Lavery was beginning to run away from the field one more time, Sitterly decided to turn up the wick just a little bit more. This time pulls to the high side of Bellinger out of that 4th turn. Sitterly now up into the runner-up spot as Bellinger, Barnes, Payne, Sweeney, and Hamilton all run nose to tail. That was until the 99 of Barnes would put his hand in the air coming out of corner number 2. His tough luck continues. We understand power steering issues once again for the number 99 machine. Well, as the laps continued to tick down, Sitterly would eventually catch up to your race leader, Lavery, and he would use the lap car of Bobby Haynes Jr. as a pick coming out of corner number 4. Sitterly, who had not won a main event at the Speedway since all the way back on Memorial Day weekend, was now in the catbird seat here in the late stages of this one. Got a good look here of Joey Payne going 3 wide with Brandon Bellinger down into corner number 3, but unfortunately, the 3 car of Brian Sweeney would lose shape going into that corner, collecting the 51 of Muldoon and the 24 of Curran. And on the restart, Bellinger trying to make quick work of the Haynes number 44 in that 3rd spot, but you can see the right front wing right there on the Bellinger 02 would get knocked off of that car, and all of a sudden the Bellinger machine picks up a severe push. Bellinger would now begin to backslide a touch through the field as Hamilton slings up to the high side. Jeff Abold looking to take advantage as well in the 05 machine, including the 26 of Sean Goslin. As Goslin looks low on the 05, not able to make the pass work right there. Again, Sitterly, you can see once he got the race lead, he was out in front, gone in this one. But Goslin trying to make the inside move on Bellinger with just a few laps to go into that 3rd corner. made contact with the left side of the Bellinger number 02. Both cars go into the foam in that third turn. Bellinger, severe damage to the 02 machine, as you can see it right here coming in on the hook. That would end the day for both Gosselin and Bellinger, and on the restart it was clear from the start that Otto Sitterly was going to be the car to beat, and he would jump out in front on that restart and run away with this one. His second win of the 2013 season. His first win in the Sunoco Race of Champions comes over Pat Lavery, Davey Hamilton, Joey Payne, and Jeff Abold in the top 5 on Saturday as a part of RoC Weekend.
Well, we didn't change anything during the break. Just pretty much, you know, had a Gatorade, and they made sure the air was in the tires and stuff like that. And pretty much, I mean, if they're going to put up a halfway bonus or something, then we'll make it interesting that first segment. But there was just no reason to race early and, you know, break your car or wear the tires out, whatever. So at the end, I don't think we went any quicker. They probably backed up a little bit. Well, I got to thank John Nicotra. His wife Cindy went through some health issues over the last year and a half, and this is the first time she's been to a race since Classic 2011, so it was nice to win when she was here. All of our sponsors from, you know, down in Florida, Canada, he's got a ton of them. I can't remember them all, and it was nice. I see Davey was up on the board too, so it was a good night for Nicotra.
I knew I was going to have a tough time with Bobby. He was right in the middle of the track, and my car wasn't all that great. It was good, but I just couldn't make the move, and once Otto got underneath me, he kind of had me there, and I just couldn't make the move around Bobby.
That was the first time I drove that car, and you know, we came from 16th to 3rd, and by myself, that thing's an absolute bullet. I can catch up to anybody, but we got to get a little better to pass. You know, I'm struggling getting by guys. So, but we were inside, outside. We gained a lot. We gained a little more than anybody else today, and you know, I wish it was another 50. I'll be honest with you, because I think there's something there.
Well, with Sitterly's victory and Gosik's issues, Otto returns to the top of the standings by 8 markers over Gosik. Gosselin still rides in 3rd. Dave Gruhl is 4th. And Michael Barnes in the 99 machine rounds out the top 5.